So welcome to the Great Hall in Winchester, which was once part of the royal castle. Winchester, of course, in the Saxon period was the capital of England before London became its capital, and therefore it, where I'm standing now, really was the centre of royal power in England at the time. Winchester had not only a great castle, but an abbey, or certainly the Normans founded an abbey after they invaded England in 1066, and was also a nunnery, a monastery, and an abbot's palace. It really was a centre of wealth and power. I've come to the Great Hall today, although Oliver Cromwell pulled down the castle after the Civil War, as it had been a royalist stronghold. He left the Great Hall because he thought that it could be used for sort of more civil and legal functions. Thank God. The reason I'm mainly here today is because this hall was built at almost exactly the same time as the hall that was once occupied part of the royal apartments at the Tower of London. So you have, I think, a hall that was built, I think, roughly in the 13th century. Obviously thick stone walls, vaulted hammer beam-like ceiling, although I suspect that's not the original, it looks much newer. And then you have these great pillars of Purbeck marble, which were actually thought to be very similar to the ones that existed in the hall at the tower, leaving you with these two outer aisles, as you can see, on either side of the hall, and then this enormous central vaulted area. I think I remember that at the tower the hall was supposedly the windows which faced out into the courtyard of the royal apartments also had a stained glass window, which you may, if I zoom in just ever so slightly, you may be able to see that you have. It's probably going to be a bit blurred, I'm sorry about that, but I'll pull back out again. The sort of coats of arms of the great and the good, royal coats of arms of great noblemen as well as cardinals. But I have to say, here in the hall today, I'm really getting shivers up and down my spine, because I'm imagining Anne's trial. There were, as I understand, great banks of seats on either side of the hall, which seated, I think, in the region of 2,000 people. So what I'm feeling is what I'm hearing is there's a great echo in this space, and I can just imagine the hubbub of 2,000 voices rising in excited anticipation of what was going to happen. And I imagine Anne being brought in from the royal apartments to stand before the dais in which the Duke of Norfolk sat as High Steward of England, I think with Cromwell at his side and the other great noblemen. And I can imagine standing here in this enormous space, which was absolutely packed with people. And I can feel just what an overwhelming experience that might have been, and I'm in awe of how Anne and George actually held their nerve and answered the accusations against them with such a cool, level head. So I heartily recommend you, my friends, to make a trip if you're heading to Winchester to see the cathedral from where I've just come, which is truly magnificent, and to come along and make sure that you get to see the Great Hall, which was once part of the castle complex. And I'm just going to finish by saying, because some of you may well be thinking, what's that great big thing on the wall there? Well, that It's made of English oak, and it is supposedly the round table made famous by King Arthur and his knights. I think there's quite a lot of mythology in that, but it's a great story.